continues Thursday at 9 on Channel 5 and My5.
The late great Sean Connery captains a state-of-the-art Russian sub that goes missing in The Hunt for Red October at 10 to 11. Brand new first, with sexual references from the start and throughout. Man About the House, 50 years of laughs.
Delivering unexpected moments. Extraordinary stories, sponsored by Prestige Flowers on Channel 5.
Wow, we're here to tell the tale, Paula.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Oh, right.
Boom.
Tonight, we look back at one of the classic British sitcoms.
Man About the House rewrote the recipe for sitcom.
Everybody watched it. This was something new, and I think the audience really took it to their hearts.
The humour was so strong and so reflective in people's lives.
Man About the House has lasted in a way that so many comedies of that era simply haven't.
You laugh when you're reading the script. I mean, that's rare.
I look back on it, and I love it.
There was just a lovely buzz about the whole project.
Some of the best times of television.
It was kind of like magic.
Happy days, ...
50 years ago, Brian Cook and his writing partner, Johnny Mortimer, had an idea for a new comedy. Their previous show, All Cock and Gander, had been a flop, so the new show had to be a hit. They wrote one script to test it out.
We really wanted this pilot to work, so we stuffed it with gags and everything. This is the pilot show of Man About the House. And it's in the lounge, upstairs. A mess from last night's party. And Joe is going around vacuum cleaning.
Have you no respect for the dying?
You're
not dying.
I'm
hoping
hoping
to,
she says.
That terrible girl at the party last night. Yeah. The one that kept giggling and wanted to strip tease. Yeah. It was me, wasn't it?
I remember filming the first episode because it was, we were always nervous before filming because, of course, there was a live audience.
The show's title may have focused on the man, but the female characters were just as strong, crucial when women's liberation was such a hot topic.
The opening scene of the very first episode of the very first series is fabulous because it's very modern. Young women hungover, clearing up after a party. And here they are in the wreckage afterwards.
Chrissy and Joe are young, pretty, go-getting girls who need a flatmate.
And they're nursing the hangovers and wondering where their next flatmate's going to come from.
Maybe there was something wrong with the gin. Or the tequila. Or the whiskey.
Half hungover, she sort of doesn't even notice that lying in the bath is Robin Tripp.
And the somebody in it is Robin, fully clothed, obviously hungover, snoozing in the bathtub.
It's one thing to be in a rehearsal room, sitting on a chair pretending it's a bath, but it's quite another thing to have to sit in real water.
Richard is a brilliant actor.
He does that really nicely. There's kind of a gangliness to him and a kind of Mr. Beanish quality.
He shakes himself like a shaggy dog, and it's an immediate physical gag. You see exactly what Robin is like. He is a 1973 dandy.
He's got such a cheeky face. I mean, that ridiculous haircut. I mean, it sets the scene for the time of when it was done.
Did I
Thames, is it really? Tripp. Robin Tripp.
In slipping, you know, when introducing himself, all that visual comedy is so wonderful.
That water wasn't hot. Even if it were, I mean, you know, once you get out of the water, you're going to be cold with all your clothes on, aren't you? Anyway. And I think he did a magnificent job.
I think Richard was brilliant because we'd never done it for real before.
The whole scene is really deliciously played, and you can hear the audience. There's this sort of mounting, gathering hysteria in the audience.
You had to stop the actual cast from actually laughing themselves.
He was a kind of master ad-libbing and going with the flow.
He looks like he's having a ball. He looks like he's enjoying himself. And that is it. And if the audience think the artists are enjoying themselves, then they enjoy themselves.
You're most probably wondering what I was doing in your bath.
No, not at all. I'm just glad I noticed you before I got in.
Situation comedies had been on TV since the 1940s. But Man About the House was groundbreaking.
In the Evening Standard London paper, there were adverts for flat sharing. And I noticed that people who were advertising didn't care whether it was going to be a man or a woman. No one had done mixed flat sharing. So we tried to do that.
What, me? Share a flat with you two girls? Well, I must say it's something to think about.
The idea of two young women sharing a flat with a man was shocking. I mean, you know, young people would have thought, oh, naughty. The older generation would have just sort of, really? Really?
I think the controversial thing and exciting thing about Man About the House was two young, sexy girls and a sexy man moves in. And I think that's the first time anything like that in a scenario had ever been put in a sitcom.
The fact that it was two girls sharing a flat with a man was very brave in those days.
It was a fella and not a girl, which was quite daring.
Yes, it was. I think the producers were a bit worried that it might be too risque.
I think people were quite on edge about how it would be received.
Well, it would have to be equal share.
Oh, certainly, yes, of course, yes. Of what?
The rent, rates, phone, food.
Oh, those, yes, of course.
And that's all we'd be sharing. One groat, mate, and you'd be out.
Listen, I wouldn't dream of it.
You can dream of it, all right, as long as you don't make too much noise.
Listen.
Chrissy sets the rules with this flat sharing arrangement pretty early on.
Premise of the show, I thought, oh, that would never happen. Wow. It's quite forward-thinking.
In the pilot episode, we also meet the landlords in the flat downstairs, George and Mildred.
There's a definite crack in the ceiling. It's that party last night that did it.
It was Hitler did it, George.
Well, not unless he was up there dancing. And the noise.
Was a buzz bomb during the war?
Do you know when it finally finished?
VE Day?
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't have minded if I'd been invited.
Oh, you wouldn't have liked it, George. All those young girls. No, you're not up to it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you know how to keep the pot boiling down here.
And immediately, Brian and Johnny have written you both.
Yeah.
And we all, as the audience, we know
Yes.
exactly who you are and what's going on downstairs.
Yeah.
Which one of us is going up there to complain?
Oh, I really do think it ought to be the head of the household, George.
Right.
I'll pop up as soon as my nails are done.
The geography of the house is actually one of the things that makes the programme work. So upstairs, you've got the 3 central characters, the 2 girls and the guy sharing the flat. But then downstairs, you've got their landlord and landlady, who are, you know, much older, a generation older.
So there was great scope for intergenerational friction.
Youngies upstairs, oldies downstairs.
Put the two together, and you've got comedy.
What, a fella moving in with 2 birds? I suppose you thought I wouldn't realise dressed up like that.
Oh, look, it would be purely platonic.
I don't care what he... What's that mean?
Well, like you and me, George.
So alien, and was so alien then, you actually had to set up the fact that he was going to move in. They had to tell their landlords that he was gay just for George to even accept the idea, for it to not be some cosmic thing from beyond.
The man, George, is terribly censorious, although I suspect rather excited about what's going on upstairs, whereas his wife, of course, is all in favour of the shenanigans that they assume are happening up there.
Very well, I'll put my trousers on.
Oh, well, if you must, you must.
There you are!
He is the old world. He represents a bygone era. Mildred and the youngsters represent the bright, colourful new era of the 70s.
With the pilot a success, a whole series was commissioned, and the writers set to work on another 6 episodes.
It's very hard living with each other, particularly if it's George.
She is a vibrant sexual being, and he ain't.
And you think, oh, how she didn't kill him, I don't know.
"50 years ago, Man About the House became an instant hit with its quick-fire gags.
A couple of these and I'm anybody's.
Cup of tea and you're anybody's.
When Robin moves into their flat, Chrissy and Joe make the most of him being a trainee chef.
Robin is this cordon bleu cook. You know, the girls would ask him to do the cooking if they had a boyfriend round for dinner.
Look, we've got to get that lock fixed, you know.
It's all right, I'm not after you, rubber duck.
She's not gone in there to the bathroom when he's in the bath to see his bits. She's gone in there to make a proposition to him that he cook.
You think you've got me at a psychological disadvantage, don't you?
Yes.
Listen, I could get you out of this bathroom just by standing up, just like that.
Bluff.
Yes.
Robin never gets the best of the 2 young women. They are always metaphorically on top.
Chrissy always gets the upper hand, and ultimately I think it's because Chrissy is the smartest cookie in the jar in terms of all the characters.
I better warn you, you know, I have been known to sleepwalk.
Yes, and I'd better warn you, I have been known to hit sleepwalkers over the head with a clock.
Sometimes Robin thinks, oh, you know, I've got the upper hand here.
I shall sit there tonight and dream I've just scored at Wembley.
Yeah, you might as well, because you're not going to score here.
He has to shut up because it's 2 against 1, isn't it? And we're winning.
When Robin's ill, Chrissy and Joe take a keen interest in his health.
Can you get him better by Saturday, because he's playing football?
Well, I could give him a high-potency vitamin injection, I suppose.
Oh, good.
In the 1970s, if you were ill, sometimes the doctor came to you. Imagine that.
Lower your pyjama trousers and bend over.
Right. Oh, thanks very much. Cheers.
So there's this sort of brilliant little scene unfolds where the doctor's preparing the injection and wants Robin to remove his pyjama bottoms on the sofa, and the 2 girls are kind of refusing to leave.
It shows the girls being naughty.
Paula Wilcox's face in that scene is just delicious. She looks so kind of mischievous and kind of wide-eyed and, who, me? And Robin kind of shoos them away, but there's this lovely little kind of sort of innocence and yet sauciness to it.
Will you push off the pair of you?
We can take a hint.
The innuendo wasn't just one way. It wasn't just Robin leching at these 2 girls. That'd been awful. Even then, really uncomfortable to watch. The girls, too, were very keen to have a little bit of a lech at Robin.
Paula is great at mischief. I mean, having worked with her, I know that look. She's great at twinkling, and she twinkles, and it is, you just go. It's wonderful.
That scene with the doctor is like a frame from a cartoon, because you get these 2 girls sort of peeping over the back of the sofa, looking naughty. It's beautifully framed in a way that you sort of don't notice, but just enhances the comedy.
If Joe and Chrissy were the blueprint for the modern woman, George and Mildred were the perfect example of an old-fashioned British couple.
You know, I enjoy weddings, George. I even enjoyed ours. Look how that turned out.
The joy of sometimes of the comedy is that people get so irate about little things. You know, it's very hard living with each other, particularly if it's George.
Oh, for heaven's sake. He hasn't taken me out to eat since we were courting. snook Walton pie in a civic restaurant.
Oh, yeah, well, there was a war on then, wasn't there? I mean, the government asked us specifically to refrain from gallivanting.
Yeah, but not 28 years after it was all over.
The battle of the sexes is a good way of describing George and Mildred, because they were battling all the time.
Oh, you got engaged during the war, then?
Oh, yes, love. What with the blackout and the gas masks, I didn't quite know what I was getting.
Oh, poor George.
It's kind of heartbreaking, but kind of funny.
Mildred is basically a tragic figure when it comes down to it, because she is stuck with George.
It is till death shall they part.
But Brian Cook and Johnny Mortimer had created a woman who was deceptively liberated and modern. She knew exactly what she wanted.
When we wrote the characters of George and Mildred, the one thing that intrigued the public was the fact that George wasn't giving Mildred the sex life that she wanted.
I've never seen a French Monopoly set before. Oh, we bought it on our honeymoon.
Mildred, played by Yootha Joyce, was very, very frustrated, sex-starved wife who was lumbered with a pitiful husband like George.
As far as I can recall, you never passed go the entire fortnight.
She is a vibrant sexual being, and he ain't. She's chasing him around, trying to get some sort of affection out of him, and there's always an excuse, and he's terrified.
She's desperate to have some kind of sex, lest we forget, with George.
Hopeful to the end.
George! She wanted to look younger, she wanted to look sexy.
What's that, Paul?
You do that funny little almost to camera look.
It's me, George. It's called Tonight or Never.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's half right, anyway.
My wife wants sex with me constantly. I can't do it. He's the most emasculated man to ever appear on screen and play perfectly.
And you think, oh, how she didn't kill him, I don't know.
George, it's not very warm tonight, is it?
Now, don't start that, Mildred.
Oh, for goodness sake. The woman, for goodness sake, she loves you. She wants to have sex with you, for Christ's sake.
He just shrinks away from it, the poor soul. He just can't stand the prospect.
She was a very frustrated lady.
Mildred, may I remind you that the wedding service said love, honour and obey. Obey. It did not say love, honour and make look a book.
It also said, with my body, I thee worship.
Mildred naturally turns it around to sex.
There has been precious little worship going on round here.
I mean, I feel about that big.
The looks are just as important as lines.
George feels constantly undermined, and sometimes he has a point.
I'm not giving you an argument, George.
She's just completely dismissive of his manhood, if you want to call it that.
Her life, since marrying George, has been one of constant lack of fulfilment.
A woman likes to be reminded occasionally that she is a woman.
Well, yeah. Well, you're a woman, Mildred.
No.
Mr. Roper is kind of downtrodden, and Brian's portrayal of him was brilliant.
With Mildred failing to stoke George's interest in her, she turns her attention to Robin.
Yes, of course, love. Would you like to go in the lounge?
Oh, right.
Right.
Sorry.
No. Go on, after you.
Mildred was a flirt, really, wasn't she? And she loved
Well, she wanted, yeah.
flirting. I mean, she didn't
loving.
necessarily want to go off and have a wild affair. I think she just wanted some affection and a bit of fun.
I've just come in to return the... Oh. Oh, I say.
When she, looked at Robin, in a kind of very lascivious manner, I mean, my God, you practically back off in your seat.
You look a bit like Tarzan in the middle of all that lot.
Well, Mrs. Roper, of course, fancied Robin. I mean, she was a man magnet.
Right hand in the small of my back. Oh.
Obviously, he touches her bum. You don't see it, but she just goes, oops.
She is flirting unbelievably with him in an outrageous way.
Mr. Roper's out, is he?
Yeah.
Mildred, I'm sure, fantasises about Robin the whole time. I mean, he's just on the floor above, you know. And when there's slow dancing, because she's supposed to be teaching him to dance, I mean, there's quite a lot of innuendo.
You're as stiff as a poker, love.
Real double entendre, isn't it? Did she really say that? And does that really mean that? And yes, it does.
But it's done with such charm. That is the secret of the success of this series.
She could be the definition of what used to be called a man-eater.
There's something going on there. There's a frisson going on there.
Ooh. He gets very close. How can she resist?
What's going to happen? You know, are they? Are they not? No, they're not. Yes, oh, they might do.
All right, then. All right, Joe, off we go.
There's something going on there. There's a frisson going on there.
There is a real sexual chemistry between the two of them.
A good storyline is often built on tension. In this case, the tension was sexual.
The whole saga, this sort of will they, won't they, frisson between them, is just beautifully done, and it's always a successful storyline in a sitcom.
Robin fancied Chrissy, and we realise Chrissy fancied Robin. And, of course, that expectation and that hope keeps you watching it. Will they, won't they? Will they, won't they? Will they, won't they?
Slow, 2, 3. Quick, 2, 3.
It's an intimate dance. They're good together. They fit together really well.
How am I doing? 2, 3?
Very well, you picked it up very well. Take your hand off my bottom.
Oh, sorry.
Take your hand off my bottom. I mean, how can you come away watching that clip without remembering anything but that line?
He's trying it on, and she says, don't.
You find yourself willing them to get together because they seem really well suited and they seem to really fancy and like each other.
It was good, too, at being slightly flirty with Chrissy, but she also fancied him. And that was the pot boiler.
That's a nice perfume you're wearing.
Yeah, well, don't sniff it all in. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it was a big tease. It teased the audience all the time. They, every week, suggested that it might happen.
They're slow dancing together and the mood's building.
Chrissy and Robin dancing, moving ever closer to consummating.
You see, the thing is, Chrissy, I'm a fella.
Ah, that explains the shaving foam in the bathroom.
And, you know, you're a girl.
No,
You're not a girl.
I'm answering your next question.
No, please.
Sort of teasing each other, and certainly teasing the audience, who I think by this time was starting to think, oh, there's romance in the air between these two.
You were saying, yes, go on. Yes, it's all right, it's fine, it's wonderful. You wanted them to fulfill your dreams about them because you became so involved.
They're both holding themselves back. So when they have a slow dance, which is very, very intimate, it's very natural, they look great together.
Listen, would you like a drink?
Well, I'm not sure I could trust myself if I had another drink. Gin and tonic, please.
There's this lovely build-up where Chrissy says, you know, I'll regret it if I have another drink and I'll do something I shouldn't. I'll have a gin and tonic. So she sort of wants it and doesn't want it.
They also know that this isn't okay.
You as an audience get invested. You know, are they going to get married? Are they going to kiss?
By series 2, there's the tension has been growing, the sexual tension has been growing between Robin and Chrissy.
If they'd let it go too far, that would have got really complicated. Or that would have been the end of it. You've got to keep this tantalising, sort of seductive thing going.
Chrissy says to Robin at one point, what did we agree to when you moved in?
£7.50 a week.
Not that, the other.
Well, what about it?
Well, there wasn't going to be any.
You see the attraction between them, and you see the kind of longing in both of them.
Look, I'm flesh and blood as well.
Well, I've only got your word for it, Chrissy.
Ooh. He gets very close. How can she resist?
Well, all I can say is if you were a gentleman, you wouldn't take advantage of the way I'm feeling now.
It was clever the way that they had those flirty moments between Chrissy and Robin, but always something happened to break it up, and then Chrissy's brought very firmly back to, well, goodness me, what could I have been thinking?
I think that was what made people want to watch it. What's going to happen? You know, are they not? No, they're not. Yes, oh, they might do.
The audience were on tenterhooks.
When Jo sees a mouse in her bedroom, she gets Robin to swap rooms, meaning he has to share with Chrissy.
Chrissy?
No, Robin.
But I haven't said anything.
The moment where they're on a bed together, and clearly it's crossing her mind. And then she says no.
As part of their agreement, the three of them, that there was, you know, that was not going to happen.
Even when Chrissy rejects Robin, she does it in a kind of reluctant, charming, sweet way, and he takes it really well.
I'd hate myself in the morning.
Yeah, fine.
Because Paula Wilcox is such a brilliant actor, you can see it going through her mind. You can see that she would actually quite like Robin to stay the night.
On the other hand, I could lie until the afternoon.
If we'd have consummated the relationship between Chrissy and Robin, the show would have been over.
Because Chrissy clearly fancies Robin, and clearly, throughout the entire run of the programme, he's toying with whether to go further in this relationship. That makes it more believable, and it makes it more special.
The ball-breaking boss of the show was Mildred, the landlady played by the wonderful Yootha Joyce, who sadly passed away in 1980. The matriarch of the series, she took no prisoners, apart from poor George.
We're thinking of having a party tonight, but he says no. You're invited.
Wait, that's not fair, Mildred. They're not having it.
Is that your final word, George?
Yes.
Right, we won't hear any more from him. Right. What time would you like me to come, dear?
About 8.
Oh, lovely.
Hey, Justin.
Down, George.
It was obvious from the start that Mildred wielded the real power in the household.
It's very clear who wears the trousers in the relationship. George is under this delusion that he has any say whatsoever in what goes on.
There was a battle between George and Mildred, but there was only ever one winner.
Mildred, am I or am I not master in my own house?
Don't be ridiculous.
She'd get a laugh out of something, a quirky face that would be the comic side of what she could do dramatically.
She can say the word George, make it last for 5 or 6 seconds. And if you were on the other end of that, you would be terrified.
There
you go.
George!
Oh, my God.
She had a vast talent. She could play serious roles. She had a serious look about her, but she somehow used that look, raised eyebrow.
Yootha was an absolute hoot. She was amazing.
She had a special gift, that lady, and just with a silly little look, she could make something funny.
We'd worked together in the past, and that was a great asset for us. We knew instinctively we could trust each other. We had what they sometimes call chemistry.
Yootha Joyce also had a hand in how her character, Mildred, dressed.
Yootha used to have so much fun with her costumes. Oh, she loved her clothes. She came into rehearsal one day and she said, "Oh, I found the most wonderful pair of trousers. They have bananas all over them, darling. They're perfect."
Thought you might like an apple pie for afters.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Homemade?
Absolutely hideous. They'll be wonderful for Mildred.
I've worked with lots of lovely actresses, but she was something special.
When Brian Murphy first played George Roper, the actor was only 40 years old.
When I read the script, I fell instinctively into who he could be.
Well, Brian Murphy, he was so different from the character. When we were in the rehearsal room, he was just this perky, young actor who had to play older than himself. this henpecked man.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, you know, we always used to have a big blazing open fire. I remember me dad used to stand in front of it roasting his chestnuts.
He feels as though he's in his 60s. It's extraordinary.
He plays much older than his years, and he plays this bumbling, slightly decrepit character. There's something slightly Dickensian, I always think, about George in this.
And he's this brilliant creation, this kind of sort of the classic sitcom loser.
And he often tried to drop hints that other women were interested in him.
Some wives may think their husband's boring and past it, but other women, in fact, may fancy them something rotten.
You are pathetic.
Well, what about Mrs. What's-her-name, number 2? She winked at me last week.
She winks at everybody, George. She's got a twitch.
Rubbish.
He's completely deluded into thinking that he is the man.
George was a 70s man with Victorian values.
I always expect him to smell of boiled eggs, with crumbs in his moustache.
Brian was by no means an old man, although we thought he was quite ancient.
Quite a complicated makeup for Brian. He had to wear a bald patch, and then on top of the bald patch was a toupee. He had to go through this kind of transformation of being an old... I suppose he played 20 years older than he was.
I had a lot more hair, and we were quite artistic about how it should be arranged upon my bald patch.
Come on, Mildred. You going to play or not? You can be leader of the escape committee.
Oh, I haven't got time, George. Play with yourself.
It's not as much fun playing with yourself.
Well, you were doing it last night.
Yeah, I know, but I lost.
He's so downtrodden. Poor thing. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for him, really.
Georgie is one of life's losers, but she kind of puts up with that.
He'd be probably much happier just living on his own with his budgerigar, I think. He wouldn't keep being pestered, would he?
George may be downtrodden, but he does get his own back with some sharp one-liners.
Now you can look. Well?
You look like Lee Marvin.
The woman in the shop said it was a one-off.
Well, it probably is. They wouldn't make 2 like that.
Poor old Mildred.
Do you realise, George, that I must have washed up 40,000 plates since we've been married?
You can't have done. We've only ever had 6.
The scriptwriters of this, they nail it. And they don't just nail it once, they nail it time and time again.
The secret of success for Man About the House was that the team could make comedy out of everyday domestic life.
Is there anything in there about men helping wives with the washing up?
No, I don't think so. Well, it's not an offence, is it?
If it is, you're not guilty.
It actually does remind you that men really did not do much around the house.
When was the last time you picked up a dishcloth, George?
Oh, just now when I handed it to you.
Mildred, bless her, turns it into sex.
But you didn't use it, George. I mean, there's no point in having something in your hand if you aren't going to use it.
It's just full of great lines, and they manage to get, fantastically kind of pointed sexual innuendo out of a tea towel.
Brian Cook and Johnny Mortimer, I think, were at the peak of their writing powers. I think they were utterly brilliant.
Have you seen my little vice, Mildred?
No, I have not. And I don't want to.
We were cracking nuts with it last Christmas and it broke, if you remember.
George, why do you want a vice to mend a plastic pedal bin?
I don't. I need the vice to mend my chisel.
Why do you need a chisel to mend a plastic pedal bin?
I need the chisel to get the cap off this tube of glue.
Oh, I see, and that's to mend the pedal bin.
No, it's to mend the vice if I find a bloody thing.
It's hard to think of anything more boring than mending a pedal bin, but they turn it into absolute gold.
The phraseology's fantastic, cracking nuts, and it's sort of brutal but poetic, and then it's, it turns into like a hole in my bucket type scenario where he wants to get the glue, to get the vice, to get the chisel.
Well, you threw it away when you broke it. Honestly, George, you are hopeless. If I want anything done in this house, I've got to do it myself. And that applies to practically everything.
Listen, Mildred, I'm tired of your constant insinuendos. There's many a woman appreciate me.
Physically, it's brilliant. The way she looks down at him and the way he reacts to it in gathering himself.
That's so sweet, though, when you try and tell her that women flirt with you.
Name one.
Name
one. Really nice.
Ah, yeah. Well, a woman in the greengrocer's only yesterday, giving me the come hither glance.
Not out of her good eye, she wasn't.
But it's very quick back and forth, almost over on top of each other, like a normal conversation.
It is an absolute masterclass in acting from both Yootha, Joyce and Brian Murphy in that one. They're both sort of absolutely at the top of their game. And if you only saw that one scene, you'd almost know everything about those characters.
You feel like you've opened the curtains and peered in on them.
This is meant to be polite. I think Richard has a face for comedy.
He was a total charmer.
You actually saw how much they enjoyed playing that.
Robin is a trier, and everybody loves a trier.
He was flirty and charming and kind to everybody.
This is meant to be polite. I think Richard has a face for comedy.
50 years on, Richard O'Sullivan's cheeky Jack the Lad humour as Robin is still infectious.
Robin is a trier, and everybody loves a trier.
Very charming, very funny, likes to chance his arm a bit. He's not quite a bad boy, but he likes to be naughty from time to time.
When Chris's mum comes to visit, Robin tries his luck.
I want my own bed.
He can stay in our room.
On the other hand, you know, I mustn't be unreasonable.
Richard is now enjoying a quiet retirement with happy memories of his time as the flamboyant Robin Tripp.
One of my favourite young actors was Richard O'Sullivan. Not only sort of as an actor, but off stage, and he was a total charmer.
Sneak him in, your mother wouldn't even know he was there. Him? In the same room as two incredibly sexy girls.
Now, come on, I'd be on my best behaviour. Now, listen, is the bed big enough for three?
He thinks it's his birthday.
He was a great technician. He was a great, without it being over the top. There was always a sense of truth, I think.
He made it look so easy.
Make yourself beautiful for me. I shall return.
Be quiet! Bumptious, conceited, male chauvinist pig. He's nice, though. Yeah.
Richard used to surf the laughter, which means really that as it reaches a crescendo, that's your next line.
He was a natural.
Richard's popularity grew over the 6 series. He'd come to fame as a child actor in 1950s feature films and would later star as Dick Turpin.
Richard was a massive heartthrob. Girls used to go, oh my goodness, you know, you were with Richard O'Sullivan all that time.
At the height of his fame on Man About the House, he was invited on to the top chat show of the time.
The problem of being recognised all the time, of being in the star of a series, what kind of problems does that present to you? I mean, do people tug at you in the streets?
No, I find them very, very, very polite. And the point is that if they want your autograph, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't give it to them, because the people that want your autograph are the people that are paying my rent. Now, if I turn around and say something very rude like flip off or something like that, you know, therefore they're not going to like me very much, they're not going to watch the programme, and suddenly I'm having trouble paying my mortgage. I mean, the people that enjoy our show are the people that are paying me.
And there are thousands of them, aren't there?
Well, so what right have I got to be rude to them?
Richard, along with the other actors in Man About the House, could make great comedy almost without speaking.
There's almost a sort of beauty in the physical comedy sometimes. It's almost like mine.
Oh, there we go.
Robin is downstairs in their flat. You can sense George's disapproval and Robin's sort of fear, I think.
This is a bit that's got no lines in it at all.
Came out in rehearsal. That leg joke. Because we were able to carry it off, because obviously it was developed and kept in.
Yeah.
Some of the best moments are absolutely dialogue-free. Two of them are crossing their legs in semi-choreographed unison to sum up the generation gap of the early 70s in one very, very awkward gesture. It's brilliantly choreographed and it's brilliantly acted.
Got very nice... got very nice budgie.
The budgie was very good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he could always get away with murder because the twinkle was there.
As the show was filmed in front of a live studio audience, Richard had to do all his own stunts.
Man About the House was written by Johnny Mortimer and Brian Cook. They'd come from cartoons, so they understood what a visual gag was.
Marriage, love and marriage. Should their sleep go together like a railway carriage?
Robin has made the most fantastic wedding cake.
Oh, it's true what they say, you know. Smoking's bad for your knees.
I'll be bringing in here.
Incredibly physical. It's a lot of slapstick moments in it, lots of pratfalls, and he's got a real energy to him.
Richard O'Sullivan is a fantastically visual, physical actor.
It's just the best bit of slapstick in the whole thing. The thing about a scene like that is that you could pre-record it because then you're in control of what happens, but it wouldn't be half so much fun. And on the night, it couldn't have gone better.
I'm not sure that he knew altogether himself how good he was. Man About the House, the title gives you the clue. He was the man about the house.
Chrissy could never decide if she wanted Robin as a boyfriend, but when there was a rival for his affections, she knew just what to do.
The first time we see Robin bring a girl back to the flat is this girl Liz, and they kind of stumble up the stairs together, kind of, you know, clearly with naughtiness and mischief in mind.
There's one thing I forgot to mention. See, I share a flat with someone, you see, so I'll just pop in.
Hey, what's he like?
He? Oh, he's a drag.
He can't even tell this girl that he lives with women.
Chrissy quite enjoys having Robin around because, quietly, secretly, she fancies him.
I'd like to meet this flatmate of yours.
What?
The one you share with.
No, you wouldn't. No, very boring person.
So when he brings a girl back, she is really miffed about it. You can see she's jealous as anything.
Good evening.
This was an opportunity for her as a character to tell us, the audience, that really, you know, she is jealous.
I went to the clinic today, Pet.
The knitting and the looks and the jealousy was perfect.
That's the first time you start to see that Chrissy has fallen for Robin, because she gets quite jealous and possessive and kind of ruins it for him.
It's a moment of character development because it shows that just as Robin is not that keen on Chrissy having boyfriends, Chrissy isn't that keen on Robin having girlfriends either. It shows that there is something between them.
I'll go to bed. I shan't bother you anymore.
Her comedy timing is fabulous.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't believe him about his vasectomy.
At the end of part one, there was often a real sort of crescendo, because you need people to come tune in for the second part.
We tried to build an end to the part 1.
There's quite a lot of big physical gags going into the commercial break, which is, again, became one of their signatures, I think.
One of the great end of part stunts is Chrissy offering to shave Robin, and he is naturally very sceptical of this.
There goes.
Chrissy, now will you stop, please, mucking about?
Joe is kind of lathering him up like this, and Chrissy comes to him with and she's teasing him.
I suppose it's mean to make a joke of it, isn't it?
Oh, that's it, forget it!
I mean, the energy of the three young kids is just fantastic.
You actually saw how much they enjoyed playing that.
I can shave that, I can shave you.
Yes, but this is totally different. I mean, my face is not the same thing at all. I mean, look, for instance, this hasn't got high cheekbones, has it? It hasn't got a firm, yet sensitive skin.
No, and it doesn't look terrified either. Now, hold it still.
And we all know what's going to happen.
It will prove that I have a gentle touch with a cutthroat.
Oh, gosh.
Sally Thomsett can barely contain herself. It's a brilliant moment.
There was an episode where I know I get soaked in water, and it's the end of part.
Nothing can go wrong. It's a perfectly straightforward operation. It's as easy as putting a washer on a tap.
Well taken.
Took one for the team.
Yes.
The water kind of spurted out, and your immediate reaction is to step back. And then I thought, no, I've got to get really wet. So I stepped back into it, because you know that the joke is how wet you can get. You know, you've got to go for it.
That's a big physical thing, and it's really ambitious.
Yeah, quite challenging. But I think we did that in one go.
None of us really liked doing stunts like that because the shit could hit the fan and it could not work. But that clearly did.
They always needed a big end of part 1, didn't they?
Like a play, wasn't it? You worked towards a curtain.
It built and built.
As it were, the curtain which you would have in the theatre.
So interesting seeing it after all these years, isn't it?
Yeah.
In Man About the House, the character of Jo sometimes comes across as a bit dizzy, but there's more to her than that.
Listen, have you finished? Because I'd like to sunbathe.
What a great idea.
Well, that doesn't leave very much to the imagination. If you've got it, let the air get to it.
Oh, you're so right.
Jo, played by Sally Thomsett, was the archetype of what we used to call a dolly bird. She had long blonde hair, she had a beautiful, rather doll-like face, a babyish face, big eyes.
Jo was my favourite, Sally Thomsett. I had a bit of a crush on her.
Right.
Ha-ha. Thank you. I wouldn't worry if I were you. You'll get that piece back when you change ends at half-time.
What she said? But, you know, off she goes. She just floats off in the... she's otherworldly.
Don't worry, you'll get them back when you change ends at half-time. I just love things like that. It's so simple. It's such a simple idea.
My character was very dizzy, and I loved her for it.
And this was always the twist with Jo. She's very much aware that she is this stereotypical character, and she comments on it.
Now, don't misunderstand me, Chrissy. I mean, I like girls. You know, they're my favourite opposite sex. I'm just saying that they are different from men.
Yes, helpless feather-brained sex objects. Leave me out of this.
She delivers this line very, very quickly about her not being intellectually able. And that makes her brighter still.
Jo, are you still going out tonight?
Yes.
That is a pity, because the mood I'm in, I think I could tackle both of you.
Oh, that's confidence for you.
Robin is getting a bit ahead of himself. He suddenly decides that he'd like to have both girls.
Oh, there's many a man with a two-car garage that only has a bicycle inside.
Classic.
That's it. He never makes that sort of suggestion again.
You know, it's almost like, as a viewer, we had an expectation of Jo, and occasionally the writers would flip it, and we go, oh, maybe she's not as stupid as she looks.
When Jo does break free of her natural ditziness, then she's so sharp.
This remarkable, sort of ditzy, but actually very savvy young woman. And they started to incorporate the most wonderful one-liners for Sally, which she could just deliver.
On the odd occasion, she'd come out with something Amazing.
Well, how can we put it?
Well, you can't evict us without 3 months' notice in writing, which we can challenge, requiring you to apply for a possession order. Then we can appeal to the rent tribunal.
Look, Joe, I'm trying to explain. That's right.
And then I was right, of course.
Tend to dismiss Jo as a kind of ditzy blonde, but occasionally she'll come back with a line, and you'll think, whoa, where did that come from?
Perfect.
He couldn't believe Robin's look, the fact he was living with these two beautiful girls.
He's all, oh my God, you're living with two birds. You must be getting it all the time.
Things were absolutely chaotic. He was so funny.
Delivering unexpected moments. Extraordinary stories, sponsored by Prestige Flowers on Channel 5.
Foodies, gourmet gold succulent delights. A juicy, slow-cooked recipe with pieces so delicate, so succulent, so flavourful. Every foodie deserves a delight, and delights deserve time. Gourmet gold succulent delights, Purina.
Hi, Grandma.
Isn't it great when things turn out better than expected? Like discovering Rustler's burgers are made with 100% British and Irish beef. Rustler's, better than you think.
Get noticed in the MG4 EV, our no-compromise electric hatchback, with up to 281 miles of electric range and spacious interior. Or take a ride in the MG ZS EV, our stylish SUV with up to 273 miles of electric range and enhanced safety technology. And what's more, they're both available with 0% finance. Contact your local dealer now to arrange a test drive. Get more with MG.
Ordinary Stories, sponsored by Prestige Flowers on Channel 5.
Man About the House could always attract top acting talent, and not just for the central characters.
A lot of really good actors wanted to work on Man About the House because, well, apart from being very popular, it had two of the great writers.
The great casting didn't just end with the 5 principals. When other actors come in to this very, very tightly knit group, they just enhance it. You have the peerless Roy Kinnear as Jerry the Builder.
Now, a wood preserver, that's what's needed. I'll tell you what, I can lay my hands on a few tins cheap.
Are they nicked?
Oh, no, dented, you know, they fell off the back of a lorry. I'll give you a proper estimate, you see, now, 12 tins at 90p a tin.
Roy Kinnear, such a consummate performer.
Great that the big faces like that can just pop up in these little sort of walk-on parts.
And one of my favourite people that I'd always loved was Roy Kinnear. They had to take us out of things and film it separately because I couldn't keep a straight face with Roy.
Labour is 75 times 6 over 9/10. And take away the inside leg measurement, that'll be 40 quid.
Does that include redecorating?
Rock bottom price.
Yeah, 40.
And even their relationship kind of encapsulates something about George and Mildred because, you know, Jerry wants George to make a decision about some building work. And George says...
Well, I think I'd better go and ask Mildred what my decision is. I won't be a tick.
Another regular member of the cast was Doug Fisher as Larry, who rented the attic room.
Robin's friend Larry comes around, and Robin and Larry are going to the football.
Got time for a cup of tea?
Oh, yeah, we got bags of time. Well, Fulham won't touch the ball for the first 20 minutes, will they? Ah, come on, listen. Yeah. Who's she, then? Huh? Oh, she's a girl. She has the flat. She does? Yeah. Sharing a flat with a bird?
The thing about Larry, he was the less sophisticated version, I think, of Robin. He was much more an old-fashioned 70s lad, and he couldn't believe Robin's look, the fact he was living with these two beautiful girls.
When Doug Fisher joined us, played the part of Larry, things were absolutely chaotic. He was so funny.
Do you take sugar?
Yeah, Tar. Who's she then?
Huh? She's the other girl that shares a flat.
Truth, you've landed on your feet, haven't you?
Eh?
2 birds in a flat? You can't be short of it.
Well, you know how it is.
No, I don't. Tell me.
Larry, his friend, turns up, and suddenly you're reminded of just how weird this setup was and how people would have reacted at the time. He's all, oh my God, you're living with 2 birds. You must be getting it all the time.
But you see, I've got this rota system worked out, you see. Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays for the blonde bit, right? Yeah. Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays.
He, you know, like you would with any of your male friends back in those days, rises up to the banter.
Obviously, he thoroughly enjoyed sharing a flat with the 2 girls and was the envy of quite a few people, I think.
And the dark bit gets her share the other nights, eh? Yeah, and both of them together on Sundays, eh?
No, Larry, purely platonic, Larry.
Well, it's not what you just said. No wonder you got rings under your... Yes, tea, yeah. Oh, tough.
I put plenty of sugar in yours. You need the energy.
Yes. Chrissy hears all of this, and it's testament also to the writing about her relationship with Robin, that she comes in, gets the punchline, has the last laugh, but actually still does it with a bit of warmth towards Robin to spare his blushes, because deep down, guess what? She likes him, so she doesn't actually just want to tell him he's filth.
There was one supporting member of the cast who I could not believe I was meeting. It was Daphne Oxenford, and she was playing my mother. And as a child, she'd been my sort of heroine. To have her as my mum was so wonderful.
I just thought he'd enjoy a quiet weekend in the country.
It wouldn't be a quiet weekend. You keep nattering on about what a lovely wife I'd make someone. No, I don't want to be put up at a cattle auction. Here's my daughter, £130 of prime breeding stock.
Oh, you put on weight.
Chrissy's mum is very much a bit part, but when she turns up to talk to Chrissy, it's very much 2 worlds colliding.
Chrissy's very afraid of telling her mother that Robin is actually living in the flat with her and Joe.
Robin? Isn't he the young man that shares the flat with you? What? Oh, Mr. Roper told me about him. I thought he must be away since he let me have his room. You don't mind? Oh, no, dear. People are doing it all over the place. I shan't worry about you now you've got a man about the house.
So she actually says the words. I'm so proud of her.
She's clearly would love to be a snob.
People were going, no, don't do it.
Certainly created a lot of laughter, didn't it?
High five.
In 1976, the Man About the House team began work on the 6th and final series. But there were already plans for spin-offs. The lovable landlords, George and Mildred, were to get their own series, and Yootha Joyce gave a rare interview to Russell Harty.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Mildred Roper, Miss Yootha Joyce. How nervous were you when it was suggested, I presume by people at Thames Television, that they would start their own little scene with you and George in it together?
We were quite nervous, I think, mainly because, of course, we thought they would miss the children upstairs, you know, who were lovely. And they were, let's face it, the stars, you know, Richard and Paula and Sally. And we thought they would miss them dreadfully. I mean, let's face it, when we first started, we were very small. I mean, we were the feature.
Yootha needn't have worried. From the very start, the new series, called simply George and Mildred, topped the ratings. The plot revolved around the couple's move out of their old house in central London, a move resisted by George.
Now, come on, let me knot your tie properly.
I always pull it too tight.
Yes, well, I do get carried away sometimes.
At this stage in particular, obviously, of their marriage, They're so ill-suited.
Now, look, I want you to look your best, George, because it's a very select neighbourhood.
Yeah, all BBC Two and musical toilet rolls. I don't want to go, Mildred.
Mildred wanted to move to a different area. She wanted to have a nice new home in a new estate and wanted to be sort of posh.
She wanted to move to the suburb of Hampton Wick, which is very much the acme of middle-class England.
She's clearly would love to be a snob.
I want to view a house today. Now, if you don't come with me, how will I know what you think of it?
I won't like it.
Who cares what you think? You're coming.
She's dragging George around with her. He's not on board with that.
In episode 1 of George and Mildred, all that stuff around class literally starts and is set up in the first scene, where they pull up outside the new house.
That can't be them, can it?
This thing we've always had in middle-class Britain, which is, what will the neighbours think?
This is going to make a lovely impression on the new neighbours.
Is that it?
Yes.
I don't like it.
Get out!
George hated it because he was trying to be something that they weren't.
And I think you're almost getting just a hint here, although no one have known it, of the sort of the aspirational 80s to come.
Well, I don't see the point in having two loos.
They have a bidet. George, of course, has no idea what a bidet is and what it's for.
Well, supposing you both wanted to at the same time.
Well, she can wait.
I think anybody could have played that part, but luckily enough, it was me.
Almost all British comedy is about class in the end, you know, and this is just that. And there's also a kind of almost a class divide within the two of them. You know, George is the rough one, and she's the one with highfalutin kind of ambitions and aspirations.
Get downstairs while I look around here in peace.
When she sees the avocado, you know, bathroom, I mean, that to her is absolute heaven.
She's looking around the avocado bathroom suite, and it's a look of absolute love.
What more could you want in the 1970s than an avocado-coloured bathroom? And she sits on it looking like the Queen.
Yootha was able to do it naturally, in a way. He was born out of space and time, somehow, and to met up with bloody George, which was unfortunate, but it certainly created a lot of laughter, didn't it?
After being the man about the house, Robin Tripp also got his own series, with his own bistro and a new love interest.
Robin's Nest was essentially the adventures of Robin Tripp after Man About the House. And we find him in a nest with his girlfriend, Vicky.
Coffee, toast. Robin. Robin. Come and get it while it's still hot.
Not in front of the tea's maid.
It's hard to imagine a more apt line for 70s Britain than not in front of the tea's maid.
Finally, he's convinced someone to have sex with him, which is basically the kind of premise of the show, really. He's now in his love nest, and Tessa Wyatt is gorgeous.
But before the spin-off began, the final series of Man About the House kicked off, and Robin had a new rival for Chris's affections, his own brother.
I hear my mother's voice and I see him. Oh, don't worry, he's just jealous.
Me? Jealous? Rubbish. Jealous of who?
Morning.
Robin's brother arrived, played by the lovely Norman Ashley.
Well, my character, Norman Tripp, was like a more successful version of Robin. He had more money, he was taller, and he just fell head over heels for Chrissy.
Morning.
Just dropped by to thank you for last night.
I enjoyed it.
Paula is stunning and is a lovely lady. She connected with your eyes all the time.
By the penultimate episode in the series, romance between Chrissy and Norman had blossomed.
Chrissy, leave this to me. I've never done it before, and, well, you've got to find the right words.
I think I'd better have another drink too.
It's such a lovely kind of romantic setting. They have the wine, they're sitting in front of the fireplace.
What I'm trying to say is that, well,
Just at the most intimate moment, a chimney explodes and soot just comes out all over the sofa, the carpet, and the two lovers. I see the back of my head, and I think that I must have been recovering in some way. I don't know if I'm laughing or if I'm crying, frankly.
Paula's face covered in soot. I mean, how I kept a straight face.
It isn't schmaltzy. It's not deeply sentimental, because it undercuts that all the time with the humour. So if there is any schmaltz, suddenly they get soot thrown all over them.
Go on. You were saying?
will you marry me?
Yes.
But some viewers didn't want the marriage to go ahead.
People were going, no! People were coming up to me in the street and saying, don't do it!
In the final moments of the final episode ever, this happens.
Well, Chrissy, what can I say?
Oh.
Robin goes up to kiss her, and this is a man who's been trying to kiss her for 6 series, don't forget, and she's now married his brother, and finally they kiss. And they really properly kiss. This is lip to lip.
It's a kiss, and then a kiss, and then a kiss and a half.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That's a real snog.
Uh-oh. Quite moving.
And everyone looks at them, and what's she doing?
I hate to break this up, but that's my Mrs. Tripp. And I'd like her with me on the honeymoon.
But it raises more questions than it answers. Why did Chrissy agree to marry Norman? Why didn't Robin intervene?
My feeling about that was that she wouldn't allow herself to fall in love with Robin, so she's fallen in love with the next best thing.
She ends up marrying the right person on paper, but not the right person in here.
You wonder, what is this marriage going to be like? But in a way, it's only just occurred to me, what a wonderful way to leave a series.
"50 years ago, this sitcom broke new ground. Now, it's a cherished classic.
Man About the House has lasted in a way that so many comedies of that era simply haven't.
It's just something that people remember so fondly.
It was a special series.
This is 50 years old, and it feels timeless.
There was a real chemistry between us, because here we are 50 years later, which I can't believe, actually.
These were 5 brilliant actors, 2 different generations, with a brilliant script.
I'm more than proud of it. I thought it was a great show.
I think it was so successful because of the warmth, the chemistry between all of us that I think did transmit itself somehow from the studio and from the television into people's hearts.
When somebody says, what for things you look back with pride, that would certainly be one of them. And I would say at some of the best times of television.
Proving you can't keep a good shrink down, Kelsey Grammer returns to his most famous role. The new series of Frasier is streaming now on Paramount+. A missing state-of-the-art Russian sub could spell World War III in our action blockbuster starring Sean Connery. The hunt for Red October is next.
Delivering unexpected moments. Extraordinary